Independent commissions cannot purport to be a fourth arm of government. They cannot. So they have to provide that information through you, and next time you're coming to respond to these questions, because we're going to defer this question. Next time you're coming, for purposes of responding to these questions, NLC will have to come along with you. Of course, the committees can do their work as you have suggested. They can summon NLC, but for purposes of responding to questions, they have to know that we can only do that through the parent ministry and through the parent CS, that is you. So we're going to defer these questions and to a later time. We will now move to...
Honorable Speaker,
yes.
If you can indulge me, I did not say that they have declined to give me the information. And I did not say that they are hiding behind the independence. It's factual that they are an independent commission. And the reason that they were given that space is so that the executive does not overreach. During my vetting, Honorable Speaker, I was even accused of not having a good relationship with them, which is not true. I was also accused to want to take their mandate through some amendments we had proposed. What I am the one who is saying the Senate is giving me or requesting the information from the wrong person, and there is another route that the Senate can get the same information, and I am not directing how this work should be done. All I'm saying is that, let me finish, because you know you will not force me to give information. I would rather that the first priority is given to the owners of the information, Speaker. So
you cannot put a point of order again as a CS on the vote, unless you want clarification and intervention. Yes, Senator Sifuna.
Chair, I'm a bit surprised because CS is a former member of this House. She knows very well that once a ruling has been made by the chair, she cannot argue with the decision of the chair. And therefore, I know you said I cannot raise on a point of order, but she's totally out of order. You have made a decision that we, in this House, interact with the head of the ministry. Whatever arrangement she has with the National Land Commission on how to source information, that is none of our business. The person who will appear there to answer is the Cabinet Secretary responsible for matters of land. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Bonnie.
For the record, let it reflect that the Minister of Lands, who is my friend, is actually an advocate. And she's conversant with the Constitution of Kenya. Could she fall back to the provision of Article 35 of the Constitution of Kenya that will help her to access the information that we are looking for, and then climb down a little bit, Mr. Speaker, and subject herself to being answerable to this House? Minister, as a senior member of government, equally because I'm also a senior member of government, we are expected to make it easy for government to deliver. And therefore, when either the Speaker or the Minister then becomes argumentative and defensive, could the Minister clarify what she is defending? All we want is information, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I propose that you direct the Minister to go back and come back with a proper question, nothing less.
Now, Honorable CS, I think I've already made a determination on this matter. Now, just have your seat, Honorable CS. Just have your seat. We want to help you navigate this this matter. Now, you did very well, because immediately you got the question, you wrote to NLC to provide the information, to provide you with the information that is required by Parliament. But NLC has not responded to to your letter. Had they responded to your letter, today you'll be giving us that information. So don't take a blame where you know the person to really blame. Because one, you did the right thing. You got this question from the Senate. You wrote to NLC for NLC to provide the necessary information and respond to the question. NLC decided not to. Now, as a Senate, this is what we have advised you, that you're not meddling in the affairs of NLC by seeking this information from NLC. And NLC, if you're
the question, then join that meeting.
Trevor, we'll move to question number, that is question number 098, Honorable CS. You may proceed to ask the question.
Most appreciated, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the current holders of the title deeds for the parcels of land in Kamkunji constituency registered as follows? Number 1, IR number 36/VII/1031, on which the Isili Social Hall stands. Number 2, LR number 36/V11/1031, brackets 619/33, which was designated for use as the Isili Open Air Market. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, LR number 209. (9/12/2).
Proceed to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The question is in three parts, and then the answer that I'm providing this morning, Honorable Speaker, is that in regard to question 5.1 and 5.2, I request for more time to be able to provide a comprehensive response because I cannot find some of my records. So I'm not able to bring the information. I need more time. I have already assigned the relevant department to comb through all our records to see whether we can get the necessary files. Then we have number 3, Roman 3. I wish to respond as follows. I think I have given a long statement there. Certificate title number IR LR 209/1712, original number 1042 and 1041, being a portion of the premises comprised in a grant dated 21st of May 1929, is located in the city of Nairobi, measuring approximately 0.34436 of an acre for a term expiring on 1st of August 2024, and for an annual rent of the amount stated there, 720, and we've given an extra 5 a copy of that title. The land was initially registered in favor of John Herbert Turner on March 1, 1929. The registered proprietor charged the property, and a charge instrument was registered on 2nd of December 1930. Later, on 11th of May 1931, the property was discharged and a transfer was registered in the name of Ferdinandis, and Annexure 4 speaks to that transfer. Honorable Speaker, on 27th of January 1933, this property was transferred to Kenya Loan and Discount Limited for a consideration amount of 10,000, but that was in 1933. Thereafter, October 23rd, 1942, a transfer via the public auction of said property to Alan Rakea and Mohammed Sharif, both sons of Nizam Din of Nairobi, and Firoz Din and Azin Din, both sons of Haji Faten Din of Nairobi, as tenants in common in shares. Annexure 5 has the transfer by public auction as evidence. Honorable Speaker, then on 26th of November 1996, a decree by the civil case number 3279 of 1994 originating summons was registered against the title, and on November 17, again 1997, a vesting order or transfer was registered transferring this land to Shaurimoyo Furniture Makers Cooperative Society, freed from all encumbrances, and Annexure 6 speaks to that court order. Subsequently, then a provisional certificate of title was issued in favor of the Cooperative Society, Shaurimoyo Furniture Makers Cooperative Society Limited, in 1998, 14th of May. Honorable Speaker, then on 22nd of May 2002, another vesting order was issued transferring the land to several persons, that is Francis Garoya Joroge, Stephen Joroge Irongo, Josephat Mutuku Musembi, Stephen Mwangi Kemani, and Stephen Kamau Mochiri as trustees for themselves and the other plaintiffs as tenants in common in equal shares. And we have also attached Annexure 7, being the court order. Several other court orders were registered, emanating from the same suit up to and including 9th of March 2015, restraining order and prohibiting all dealings. And that order is dated 23rd of October 2019, sorry. And then and this was registered against the same title. Honorable Speaker, on May 25th of March, on May 25th, 2022, for a consideration of 130 million, this land was transferred to Mirage Supply and Contractors Limited. And since then, this property has not changed hands. My record shows that it is currently in the name of Mirage, and I think unless there is any other question, that question is fully answered.
Honorable Sifuna.
CS, with regards to the first two parts of my question, you have indicated that you need more time. Perhaps you could just indicate how much time you need for us to get these responses. And you have confirmed to me that the cooperative society actually sold this land themselves to a private entity. Now, Chair, I have a follow-up question. The last time that the CS was before this House on the 27th of March 2024, we had a conversation here, and I was very happy with what she said regarding revocation of the title of the land on which Tomoya Social Hall sits. I took the initiative, Honorable Speaker, to write to the CS. In fact, when she was here, she promised us that she would be revoking the title that had been given to a private developer and returning that land to the Nairobi City County on behalf of the people of Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, on the 8th of April 2024, I wrote to the Cabinet Secretary responsible for land, because even after her pronouncements, we could see that there was still development going on at the property. And she wrote back to me on the 13th of May 2024, saying that she's following up, and in fact that she was still, the position of the ministry was that that title was going to be revoked. So now that she's here, and she had made that promise before this House, I would want her to give the House an update on the process of revocation of the title that had been issued to a private developer over the land on which Tomoya Social Hall sits. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS.
The first question supplementary to that is how much time I need. Sometimes it's quite difficult because I would, when a file is removed from its usual place, then it becomes a bit difficult to tell how much time you will need. But possibly we can work with another 30 days. We can work with another 30 days. And maybe the Honorable Senator, if you have some details in respect of those parcels, you could give me for purposes of reconstruction, because if I cannot get my file, then I would be able to get useful assistance by any document that speaks to the title for purposes of reconstruction. So 30 days, we are working hard to get the file. Then the last one is on Tomoya. It is true, I think after my pronunciation, my statement to this plenary, my office started working on the revocation process. It is a process that requires at least maybe about 90 days to 4 months, because one, you have to write to the holders of that title and call for it. We've already done that. But before we could proceed with gazettement of the need to revoke, we were served with the proceedings of the High Court. I believe, Honorable Senator, you are aware. The case number, I had asked for, there is an order for status quo, but I'm still looking at ways of fulfilling what I stated on this floor. But there is a court order. These people have gone to court. They are not relenting, but the position of the ministry is that whichever way, this property is not transferable, because it's a secured and preserved space for town hall. So whichever, and we have already filed sub-statements to court to respond to that effect. So in my view, the property is still secure. The court order was bar. This case number. Case number in the Environment and Land Court 0E053 of 2024, filed by Ngami Properties Limited against the minister and the cabinet secretary, rather. The status, the order was issued on that day, and this is maybe what is relevant, that there shall be a status quo, and we can maybe forward this. It is part of the annexures. If it is not, I will forward a copy of this order, Honorable Speaker, for record, for purposes of record.
Thank you. So 30 days to get the response on question on the first limb of your question. Now, Senator Abraham Miraji, do you have any supplementary question? Where is she? Senator Mungatana, you have any supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you again for giving me this opportunity to interrogate. Mr. Speaker, the first and second questions with regard to Isli open air market and Isli social hall, the minister has asked for more time and indicated 30 days. Now, that brings the further question, because what we know is that the ministry spent a lot of resources to digitize lands records. And in fact, at some point, the ministry had indicated that Nairobi had been completed. So we just want to know what is the status as far as that about looking for a file not being in its place. What does it mean? Does it mean the whole program failed, or what is exactly the status of the digitization program? Because resources were spent, assurances were given, and now it seems we've gone back to the same many years we used to have files getting lost. Maybe the minister can clarify. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kavindu.
Kindly, Speaker, ask her first. Let her come first, and then I'll come. Let me prepare.
No, it's up to me to decide which, the senator to speak first, and I've chosen you this time around.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, my question is not in line with what is going on, but I wanted to know from the CS. And first of all, congratulations for your coming back. You've been really good on your work, and we congratulate you for your good work that you are doing. If the rest of the CSs were like you, Kenya would be good. But I wanted to know, Madam CS, Honorable CS, if it is in line with the law for a cooperative society of lands not to hold an AGM meeting for 5 years and no action is taken. I'm struggling with Katelembu land, Madam Speaker and Madam CS, and last time we were together, I also raised that issue with you. I don't know how you can assist me with Katelembu issues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Beatrice Agola.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just to emphasize on the earlier concern of Senator Mungatana, is that reports have been given to us in this House about 3 counties that were where the pilot scheme for digitization of the ministry was done and was reported to have been complete. So I was wondering how then we go about looking for files. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to know from the CS what steps the ministry is taking to secure open grounds in this city, as was in the initial development plan and on other cities too. How secure are our open grounds from encroachment?
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Yeah, the first question I think is from Honorable Mungatana regarding digitization, how far we are. It is true the digitization process started in Nairobi registry. And, how then does that not help the question of missing files? Before you digitize, you need the files to be able to get that information and load it into the information management system. If you don't have the file, the hard copy file, then you have no information to put. So there are still a few parcels where their files, the files are not available. The deed file, the correspondence file, if those in that hard copy material is not there, then you don't have that in the system. So that is maybe the response to why am I still speaking to a missing file. Ordinarily, we even, for now, even when we have information in the system, because we still have the hard copies, we re-verify just to avoid any mistake. But in this particular case, we don't have any information in the information management system. That is our ADISASA, and we also can't get the hard copy. So, but we will find them. Normally, sometimes they disappear completely. And that's why I requested support from the owner of that question, Honorable Senator Sifuna, so that if we cannot get, then the people interested or the owners of the property, we request for information from them and documentation, then we'll put it in the system, and then we can be able to gazette the reconstruction and loss of the titles. And therefore, on question of then general digitization, it's work in progress. I'm in Nairobi. Nairobi is at 98%. We are also working in Murang'a. We've gone live in Murang'a. Isiolo we will be launching Isiolo anytime soon. It's just time availability. And then Mombasa, we are at the tail end, maybe at 80%. We obviously are a long way to go, because you know the number of registries are more than 80. Operation ones are about 70, I think 73. My lad registrar is not here today. He had another commitment, but what we are saying is that I did tell this house through the vetting that I need about 34 billion shillings to digitize the entire country. The information system is simply now at about 5 counties in terms of digitization. Because the hardest stations are Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, Nakuru, and the others are, maybe in Kiambu, Murang'a. Those are where we have a lot of them, land titling has already happened. So we still need a lot of time and money. I had said if I got the budget, within 4 years, we can finish. So that's where we are.
We now move to question.
I think there was a question on Katerombo from my good friend, Honorable Senator Kavidu.
Honorable CS, if in a position to respond, you may proceed, because it's not a supplementary.
Yes. I would just advise the Honorable Senator, through you, Speaker, that this is a matter that we could write to the Minister of Cooperatives and SMEs, because they have regulatory instruments that can direct AGM to be carried out. So people should not be held at ransom. And I know many land buying companies, like other public companies, take forever and they do funny businesses there. Even when they call AGM, they buy out some members and the AGM doesn't go well. But under the supervision of the government, national government, through the Ministry of Cooperative, that can be done, and done in a proper way. So we can have a conversation, but you could actually go direct to the Minister for Cooperative, and they'll be able to help that cooperative society. Thank you. If you need my support, I'm available.
Thank you, Honorable CS. We will now move to question number 071 by the Senator for Kirinyaga County, Senator James Mrango. You may proceed to ask your question, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, my question was, could the Cabinet Secretary state the number of persons classified as landless, commonly referred to as squatters in Kirinyaga Central Constituency, Kirinyaga County? B, what measures has the Ministry put in place to ensure that all squatters across the county, and particularly those in colonial settlements, villages, along Mount Kenya Forest in Kirinyaga County, are resettled? C, could the Cabinet Secretary confirm when these quotas will be settled, including when they shall be issued with title deeds? And that's my question, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you. The Honorable Senator for Kirinyaga County, Senator James Murango, is requesting for information on how many people are landless or people commonly known as squatters. I will start with that question. The classification of people as landless and commonly known as squatters is inaccurate because landless is different from squatters. And in our view, my view, according to Oxford Learner's Dictionary, I took time to seek this so that I can also have a better clarity. The word landless is an adjective that means not owning land. Therefore, in our context, a landless person is one who does not own land. And basically, in this country, I think those are the majority. Therefore, in our context, this person who doesn't own land, the Land Act number 6 of 2012 defines then a squatter as a person who occupies land that legally belongs to another person or entity without that person's consent. And therefore, these two terms cannot be used interchangeably. One is a squatter on a land that is known who is the owner. Is it a private land? You have a squatter on a private land or on a public land, but you are squatting. Landless is obviously somebody who maybe in the future they will own land. We don't have data of those kind of people because really they are the majority and we can't have, you don't have land. Yeah, but tomorrow you may have land. So I think normally the concern of the government is squatters who become a problem to private property and also a problem to public property. The ministry has database of persons classified, does not have database of persons then therefore clarified as landless or squatters in the country. Settlement of deserving cases is undertaken as need arises. The settlement programs are, however, subject to availability of public land, because sometimes we settle them on public land, and availability of funds. Because sometimes, of course, we buy land for settlement. The ministry has so far, since independence, settled 301,872 families in 463 settlement schemes. You may not have asked this information, Senator Murango, but indulge me to give the Senate that information through your question. And therefore, we are talking of a total of 1.288,244 hectares of land that the government has given out for settlement, meaning a total of 320.25 acres of land across the country. And this is a big achievement by the government, and this has occurred in 26 counties within the country. In the last 3 years, the ministry has settled 16,376 families in a total of approximately 21,000 hectares of land across 10 counties. Currently, the ministry has no settlement programs in Kirinyaga Central, because I think one question was in relation to Kirinyaga Central constituency of Kirinyaga County. However, colonial settlement villages are a phenomenon inherited at independence. In Kirinyaga County, there are 46 colonial villages with an estimated 5,231 households as shown in Table 1. And that is I have given the list of the names of these villages. Some basic work, initial work has taken place in terms of planning, but we have not completed the planning. And what we are saying is that data indicated in Table 1 above was captured by the ministry and forwarded to the county government of Kirinyaga for coordination of activities together with the ministry, because we need friendly collaboration with the county government. Honorable Speaker, the ministry intends, with availability of funds, to collaborate with the county government of Kirinyaga and NLC to carry out planning surveying work, identification of beneficiaries, although we have the primary data of who identify and place beacons, and that is work in progress, would require capital or funds, and therefore I want to assure the Senator that that is what I have in my records. NLC will also be part of our partners. Thank you.
Honorable Senator, you may ask your 2 supplementary questions.
Asante sana Mstahiki Spika. Asante sana waziri kwa kujibu maswali ambayo nilikuwa nimeulizia, na niko na maswali mawili. La kwanza ningeuliza kwamba unajua vizuri kwamba katika Kirinyaga upande wa Mwea watu wameishi huko bila hati miliki kwa miaka na mikaka. Nyanyangu nilimzika akiwa na miaka 115 na bado hakuwa na hati miliki kwa sababu ya sheria gandamizi ambayo ina mambo ya kunyunyizia mashamba maji. Kwa hivyo swali langu la kwanza ni juhudi zipi ziko kuhakikisha kwamba wakazi wa sehemu za Mwea, ile inaitwa Mwea Irrigation Scheme, na pamoja na shamba la Southern Kariama kwamba wamepata hati miliki na ni lini? Swali langu la mwisho kwamba katika takwimu ambazo umeleta siku ya leo kuna vijiji 5260 ambazo zilikuwa ni vijiji za ukoloni. Waswahili husema mghala muwe na haki yake umpe. Toka zile vijiji za ukoloni mpaka leo wale watu wana hati miliki, na unasema kwamba ushapeana takwimu kwa serikali la gatuzi la Kirinyaga waweze kuanzisha mpango rasmi wa kupeana hati miliki. Mimi mwenyewe niko na kijiji ambao mimi niliachiwa na babu yangu ambao haina hati miliki. Huenda nikafa kama sina hati miliki kwa miaka hiyo yote. Ningetaka nijue hizi hati miliki zitapeanwa lini? Asante sana Mstahiki Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Maybe, Honorable Speaker, allow me to just repeat myself. I did not say that we are giving Kirinyaga County to do the survey work alone. Ordinarily, because they have a survey office, all counties are part of our settlement programs as stakeholders. So I say that if I'm able to put funds together, and this is not just these colonial villages. My department is under instructions to start planning. When you enter into a department, I entered into this ministry last year. We proposed funding for this pending work. We didn't get funding. And I have more villages than this, including Yeri, including Laikipia, and Nyandarua, and other places outside the Mount Kenya region. So what I'm saying is that Parliament should also be responsive in terms of supporting some of these programs. The National Assembly has poorly funded the Ministry of Lands, notwithstanding that we collect stamp duty to a tune of about 15 billion shillings. And I think I would want Senator Murango to be my partner in this regard. And then this is work that I can finish with the necessary funding. This is work I can finish within 2 years. But I said basic planning is there. People know their sections. What is remaining is finalization by way of survey, and not even planning is not an issue because basic planning has been done. It's just to fine tune it, but now survey and recording so that we can do the titling. I've taken it personally myself, not just for Kirinyaga, but the entire country. I'm mindful that we shouldn't be talking about colonial villages in this era. So we need to clear with them. I commit myself to ensure that this is in the next budget. Among other colonial villages, we need to settle people so that they can use their land more productively. Kirinyaga has other challenges in South Kariama. This is a huge scheme. We have finished our work. There has been several cases that have been a barrier, but those cases basically are now agreed upon, and we should be finishing this scheme without more challenges. The small issues remaining now is about public utilities, how much public utilities we have been able to carve out. I think the county is asking for increased public utilities, but that may not be possible considering that people are already occupied and living in the area. But we are in conversation, and we will be finishing this scheme very soon. Mwea also is the same, you know, a lot of conflict and fights, and but the cases, Mwea has also had cases. I think if we put our attention, we can be able to finish this, and we are already, this is work I have instructed for completion. So possibly I cannot tell you it's a year or two because, again, I need funding, but let's work with the Parliament to ensure that some of these old schemes are completed. I think the ministry has also failed to, what happens is that, Honorable Speaker, allow me to say this, our people are very litigious when it comes to land. I can tell you I have cases that are old as 40 years. And whenever we finish adjudication also or settlement issues, other people, brokers, thieves who want to steal land, bring cases and they somehow find their way in courts. And they come up with orders. So they become a major hindrance to completion of the work. Then, of course, officers move to another place, you know. Then other cases come along because after you have not finished, other people start eyeing the same. So it's quite complex. It's not a straightforward job like go and do it. But we need, as a country, to refocus in this particular, including adjudication, so that we provide sufficient funding for the department, State Department for Lands and Physical Planning. I don't know whether I've answered, but I desire to be your partner. Then we see how we can finish this.
Thank you, Honorable Sears. Senator Beth Siengo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to ask a supplementary question to the Honorable CS. My question is on if the CS could clarify what happens in a situation where 2 or 3 people or more lay claim on the same parcel of land, or on one parcel of land, and rightfully they present even title deeds for the same parcel of land. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kinyua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For me, I'm concerned about funding because she has repeated about funding for a long time, and she's saying that if she doesn't get funding, she wouldn't do so much concerning the issue of titling, Mr. Speaker. Because I know I had raised the issue of titling of Minor Village, which she is aware. I had mentioned about Likie. For me, now my concern, Mr. Speaker, is that how much money does the ministry need so that at least she would finish her work? And how much has she gotten? And if the amount she has gotten, how many years then are we going to wait so that we avoid asking the same question, Mr. Speaker, knowing that she has been given amount X and she wanted amount XY, so that we know how long as Kenyans we are going to wait, especially people from the areas she mentioned, especially in Laikipia, Minor Village, Likie, Marmanete Victis. How long are these people going to wait? Mr. Speaker, the most shocking thing is that when the minister or any government officer visit, they promised, and they give us even timelines, Mr. Speaker. So when people are given timelines, and when the minister comes back to Nairobi, there is no money allocated. So people feel like they have been misled, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Miraj.
Asante Bwana Spika. Swali langu kwa waziri ni kuhusiana na Bububu Settlement Scheme plot number 246 ambayo ilipitishwa na tume ya NLC kwamba wapimiwe na wapewe vipande hivyo vya ardhi. na nimemsikia waziri kwa kauli yake akisema kwamba akona changamoto ya pesa. Ningependa tu atueleze katika gatuzi ya Mombasa pengine anapania kupeana vibali vya umiliki wa ardhi katika maeneo gani, kwa sababu kumekuwa na matatizo ya kwamba hata baada ya malalamishi kusikizwa na tume husika, baadaye kunatokea watu wengine wanapeleka kesi kotini, na wale ambao washapangiwa kupewa vile vipande vya ardhi wanashtakiwa na kunyanyaswa katika koti zetu. Naomba atupatie mwelekeo ni jinsi gani tutaweza kupambana na masuala kama haya pindi yanapoibuka. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Kavinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable CS, I'm still following up with the issue of Katelembo. There are people there who were born there by their parents who are shareholders of the piece of land. And being born there, today they are being called squatters and being chased out. And Honorable Speaker, we are talking of people who are aged 70s, 80 years, 90 years old, living in that piece of land. And today they are being called squatters, and the society wants them out. It's only that by the grace of God, I've been defending them, and the late Honorable Kabaka was still defending, and that is why, Honorable CS, I would request you to intervene for those piece of land, Katelembo. Otherwise, it's a big issue, and people there are owning title deeds. 2, 3, 4, 5 people owning one piece of land, and each one of them has title deeds. Where do they get these title deeds from? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abbas.
Honorable Speaker, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to ask the CS whether she's aware that in the far-fetched areas of Wajir and Mandera, there are no land offices. And people require to have title deeds for their, at least especially the commercial areas and municipalities. And they came all the way from Mandera, Wajir to go and come and look for title deeds. What is the plan for the ministry to open land offices in the nearby areas? Maybe in Garissa or Wajir somewhere. Is there any plan?
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
I think allow me, Speaker, to start with the question of Senator Bas, on Garissa, Mandera, Wajir. Where are we? Do we have plans for a registry? I think this is a conversation we can have. The problem is having too many registries and fewer personnel, but also that to do a registry, you require about maybe between 80 and 120,000 for one registry. But we can look and see in between which is the more appropriate in terms of distances and logistics to then agree where we should have a registry. Ordinarily, it's not a very difficult thing, funds being available. We are also partnering with members of parliament to build registries, because short of funding, there is nothing that stops us to establish a registry where distances become a barrier to access to the land rights of people. So I want to assure you that I will take it up and we can have a discussion in my office, maybe with the members of parliament from those regions, so that we agree which are the appropriate places that we can start thinking of a registry. Senator Kenyua is asking me on the question of how much I need, so that next year I don't come here again and say I don't have money, and I know what I should do, save that I'm saying we have no funding. The estimates for colonial villages in Nyeri, Kirinyaga, and Nyandarua, we had done an estimate of 137 million shillings, and that request has been put to Treasury. But I think to clear with all the colonial villages, we need double that, so that, because they are not just in those places, so that we are talking of about maybe 300 million shillings to clear with that. Then I have a question from Senator Miraj. Am I correct? Yes, about Mombasa, the coast, maybe basically the coast, how many titles. Allow me to give you this information of where titles are ready and how many there are. I don't have that because it's a supplementary question, and it's good to have a proper response in terms of data. So I will request that I can forward that information either through the Senate or to you as a member of Parliament, a member of the Senate. I have been asked a question on, again, Senator Kavindu is back to the question of Katerembo. To be honest, I don't have any information about this specific society or the land issues or question that you want me to address. What I can gather from you is that there are squatters, but there are also some owners. The cooperative, the land, this is a private land, but there are squatters. And I had said earlier that the question of squatters, Honorable Kavindu, the question of squatters is a very serious problem in this country. And the last time I appeared either here or before National Assembly Committee, I said that we are developing as a country a class of people who I would define as professional squatters. They move from one land to another, and believe me, they have owners. These people are just moving from one land to another once the land appears like it is vacant. Therefore, maybe we can have a meeting with you, Honorable Speaker. I would invite the Honorable Senator to my office so that I can be seized of the challenges she's raising. I think I don't want to add more, but if they are squatters, they would have to negotiate with the owners of the land so that possibly, if they give them, that is, sometimes they are squatters who have worked in that land, but also we don't want to allow people to just come to your land. Tomorrow it's you. The other day it will be somebody else's land. I think people must also learn to respect the land rights of others. However, they could have a reason why they are calling themselves squatters in that land. Let's have a discussion. I don't know whether I have answered all the questions. What happens where two people, what happens where two people, I think that's your question, claim they have some title that appear legit, and then who is the owner? There can only be one legitimate title deed. There can only be one. So one of those titles is a forgery. So it means then you would have to interrogate the document itself, and also interrogate the record. The record will guide you to the ownership by name. And there are also features that we are able to, when we interrogate the titles, there are features that we know that we look for in a title deed paper, which will lead us closer to who has a forged title. Because some are just printed in the, I don't want to say River Road, because there are also other good things that happen in River Road. Let's say in the streets in Nairobi, Honorable Speaker. So I guess that is, and if you have any like that, you can refer to us so that we can consult the registry where they purport to have been issued from. Then we will be able to help.
Senator Majaya Stewart.
Asante, Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, nataka kumuuliza waziri. Kwanza, waziri, nataka kupatia heko kwa kuweza kuweka kidole hapo jana ili kuweza kuendelea na kazi yako ya waziri katika mambo ya ardhi. Waziri, kama unavyojua Kilifi County, ambapo mimi ni senator wa hilo eneo, ni eneo la pwani. na linajulikana sana kwa maskwota katika Kenya mzima. Nafikiria hakuna kaunti ambayo iko na maskwota wengi zaidi ya Kilifi County. Ni hususan nikizingatia kwamba tunaweza kulinganishana hivi sasa, kumekuwa na wingi wa watu ambao wanataka kujenga majumba, watu ambao wamekuja kuweka rasilimali zao na kuweza kuangalia vile wanaweza kujiendeleza kimaisha na biashara. Hiyo imekuwa jambo zuri, lakini tukiangalia zaidi tunaona ya kwamba kumekuwa na hali ngumu ya maskwota. Maskwota wanaendelea kugandamizwa, wanawekwa katika maeneo ya kando ambao sio maeneo yao wanaoishi. Wamekuwa wakiishi huko mara nyingi, na sio Kilifi. Nikisema hivyo nasema habari ya kama mahali kama Ganze, eneo bunge, mahali kama Magarini, eneo bunge, mahali kama Malindi, eneo bunge, na hata ukija mahali kama Kilifi South kule inaitwa kaskazini ya Kilifi, ni kwamba kusini ya Kilifi, yani Kilifi South, ni kwamba kumekuwa na mwamko mwingi mkubwa sana. Ukiangalia katika eneo kama la Vipingo, Kikambala, Mtwapa, kumekuwa na maskwota wengi sana. Sasa wanasongezwa, wamekuwa wanapelekwa katika ile hali ya kwamba wanaishi kama ambao si binadamu tena. Watu wanajenga majumba, watu wananunua, na wakija pale wanakuja na title wakisema kwamba wako na title. Watu wanafurushwa wakitumia polisi. Polisi wanatumiwa vibaya, ya kwamba watu wanapewa, wanaambiwa hii nendeni mkaondoe watu katika kikao wanachoishi. Ni hatua gani wizara yako ambayo inahusika na utetezi kama huu unaweza kutetea hawa maskwota? Ama ni wizara yako, ni hatua gani inachukua kuona ya kwamba maskwota wanaoishi kama ni Kaloleni, ni Rabai? Ukiangalia kama Rabai, sasa Rabai eneo bunge lote hivi sasa ni kama ambalo limevamiwa na wale wawekezaji wanaotaka kuja pale kuweka mali zao na kila kitu. Sasa wamechukua ardhi na kuweza kusongeza wenyewe ile ardhi. Waliozaliwa pale, na makaburi yako pale, makanisa yako pale, misikiti iko pale, skuli ziko pale. Sasa wanaleta orders, wanakuwa na ile bulldozers, wanaweza kuangusha na kuweza kufurusha hawa. Wizara yako ni muhimu sana. Nauliza wewe, ni hatua gani wizara yako imechukua kuona ya kwamba hatukatai maendeleo yaendelee, lakini pia vile vile wakaaji wa pale, waliozaliwa pale, wanaoishi pale na wana makaburi yao hapo, kuona ya kwamba eneo la makaburi lote linaingizwa tingatinga kwa sababu mtu anasema hapa niko na title.
Senator, unachukua muda mrefu sana kuuliza swali.
Tafadhali,
Senator. Cabinet Secretary, please respond. Senator Umgeni, you have Senator Umgeni, you have another supplementary question related to this question. Please go ahead.
Yes, Madam Waziri, I wanted to ask a question related to the issue of compensation of land that has been acquired by government for various projects. And there are several residents of the county of Nyamira whose land was compulsorily acquired to construct Chebilat, Ikonge, Chabera Road. And they have been waiting for compensation for quite some long time. could the ministry tell us what is causing the delay in compensating those residents of the great county of Nyamira? Related to the issues of land, Madam Waziri, is the rollout of this program of digitization and conversion of titles to e-titles. Madam Waziri, this rollout is causing a number of problems to many Kenyans, especially those who are illiterate, those who don't have phones that are able to take emails and the likes, especially the poor Kenyans at our rural areas. Is the government, through you, going to do maybe a system that addresses the vulnerable Kenyans? A number of them have actually been conned, because for you to do that conversion, you have to go to a cyber, get somebody to assist you, log the details into a phone, and you are not able to read. Really, I know we are trying to benchmark on what's happening from other developed countries, but what are we putting in place to protect the vulnerable Kenyans? Some of them even come from where my Honorable Chair, Speaker, comes from, who are not able to read. They don't have these phones that can log into the email and the likes. And finally, the corruption within the ministry, especially Land Control Board. Most Kenyans doing transactions for sale of land are forced to pay up to 20,000 shillings, some 30,000, before the Land Control Board can issue them with consent to either charge or to transfer, without issuance of any official receipts. Madam Waziri, do you think this Land Control Board is serving us well? And what measures can you put in place to curb the corruption within the Land Control Board committees? Thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to start with the last question of Senator Omugeni. I had responded to the digitization question, but I think your new question is how then are we preparing Kenyans, especially the vulnerable Kenyans, how to deal with how to interact with the information management system, because even maybe the equipments, the phones, the gadgets required, they don't have. Every change has its own challenges. And we have already agreed, and it's a government program that we are digitizing, and we are looking at the larger evil that we are trying to curb: theft of land, security for land tenure, and securing land rights, dealing with the loss of titles and theft of land. I think if you take that against Kenyans who are not literate, then you will find that it's, the bigger problem will be addressed by digitizing. And then we can have a conversation how then we will help. Is it through the ministry that we shall have maybe a section or a department to help the vulnerable that need? And even today, if anybody goes to any registry, they will get help, irrespective of whether you are supposed to interact with them. They will still get help. And I think maybe that's what we should intensify. And administratively, my ministry will look into that. And you have raised an important issue. It is important because the reason we are digitizing is to make easy access, to enable easy access and effective access to land, land records. Corruption in land boards or by land boards or members of the land boards, maybe you would have helped me better if you possibly gave me the specific land board. The minister has authority to degazette a board if we feel corruption is a barrier, is a challenge. So give me specific land board and I will degazette it tomorrow. But I will send a message, and I have kept sending messages. We have, if people also give money, I don't know why people have extra money to give for corrupt purposes. I think that you do not need to give any money.
Cabinet Secretary, would you like to be informed by Senator Mogeni?
Okay. How can I diffuse?
Madam Waziri, this is extremely common in Ngong.
Ngong.
In fact, if you want to know the truth, you can send your undercover agents tomorrow, and you will see no receipts, no official receipt is issued. Okay, those who are able to pay are issued with the consent faster than those who are not willing to give the bribes. It's happening, and I'm sure I'll not be wrong to say that this is duplicated in many land control boards across the country. But the most notorious
is Ngong.
Is in Ngong. You can speak to the Law Society and they will tell you.
Administratively, I will withdraw the right to hold special board for that particular land control area, special, so that we have annual, the normal regular land board meetings or approval meetings, and then I'll pick it up because now you have given me the necessary information. Thank you very much for that information. I will see, but I will also send a circular to all the land boards. But we have a program coming up where we want to create awareness and retrain our land board members. You know, normally they get a small allowance, but they must know when they accept that it is not for payment, they cannot be soliciting for money, and they let them hear me on the floor of this plenary that anybody caught soliciting money as a member of the land board, the entire board will have to go. Thank you very much. I think the last one, let me come to Kilifi South. Mheshimiwa Senator Madzao of Kilifi County, I identify with the challenges you are raising because I have just said, maybe before you stepped in, that we have professional squatters, but I know we have genuine squatters, but we also have people who, after land has been sold, then they get onto that land, become squatters even when they were not squatters. And those squatters, I had said, they are owned by people, moved from one place to another. The squatters cannot have a right without any reason. We would have to interrogate generally. As a ministry, in your county, Musambaha, Takaungu, we have 2 schemes, Makaburi. You raised about, we have Musabaha and Takaungu. Those are schemes that are purely meant to give land to squatters. So to address the squatter problem, the program that comes very hardy is the land settlement program, where we buy land for squatters. That program requires funding as well. So I think if you ask me as a ministry, what are you doing? Is that whenever we have money, we buy land, but we also need to be specific and strict about squatter problem in the entire coast region. Because you know, you said that there are squatters who are being evicted. There are court orders. It's for somebody to get a court order, they have secured they have been able to persuade the court that the owners of the land. So these are very complex issues. And I think some of the people who sell that same land are those people who you are calling squatters. So I would want us to be very specific. We deal with one after the other so that whenever we have funding, we can address specific squatter problem. And being very selective and very careful because we cannot, we cannot afford to buy land for everybody. Genuine squatters, and even settlement schemes in Mombasa, we are having a challenge the entire Mombasa. The minute you settle people, you give documentation, the following day they are looking for buyers of the land, then they move to another area to squat there for the same purpose. So I think also as leaders, let us give awareness so that, and we had even a provision, it's still there in the law, that you cannot transfer land given by way of settlement, you know. But, you know, they have, some very clever people have also gone to court, and they have an order that once we give land through settlement, as a government, as a ministry, then you cannot restrict the right to use, the right to transfer. It's a constitutional right. So we now are forced to allow, if you want to transfer tomorrow after we have given you, we may not be, we may delay, but eventually we don't have a right to stop you. So let us also send right messages to these people, and then we can reduce the numbers. And I think that's the best I can do. I think the Senate, the question is, I don't know whether there is any other part of your question. I think Omugeni was talking about acquisition. I think your question was generally about the compensation, yes. I wanted to exhaust Senator Madizao's, if he's satisfied, I can move on to the second part of Omugeni's question.
Senator Matsayo, you have a point of order?
Ndio Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, pia ningependelea kuona kwamba ile Land Control Board ya Kilifi sasa imejitumbukiza kwenye hiyo hali unayosema ya ufisadi. Na iwe karatasi ziwe zinatolewa na zinaenda kwa mashinani, na ndio sababu hao maskwota wanaweza kufurushwa. Polisi pia wanatumiwa vibaya kuweza kufurusha watu katika maeneo yao. Kwa hiyo kama ni uchunguzi ufanywe, basi pia unafanywa kama vile ulivyo direct ufanywe eneo la Ngong, basi hivyo nataka uchunguzi ufanywe katika Land Control Board ya Kilifi.
I think maybe you could come to my office, we have a discussion so that I understand the challenge of Kilifi Board, and then we see how long has it been in place, and who do you have specific persons, so that we don't punish the entire board for the sins of one individual. So I think that we can have a discussion one-on-one in my office next week. You can, my number is basically public, but also my office will be able to give you.
Senator Mazayo, we have to proceed to the next question.
Yes.
We've spent too much time on this, so please,
I'm saying I'm available for his many
yes,
questions.
accept the invitation
Kindly.
by the minister to discuss the issues in Kilifi, so that you can allow the House to proceed to the next question.
Yeah, because some
Thank
of them
you.
are sub-
Honorable Senators, we'll proceed to the next question.
On acquisition, I had already, I think we had exhausted, and this floor, the speaker gave us a ruling regarding compulsory acquisition, because I had already said earlier, I don't want to open the issue. I had already said it's a mandate of NLC, but the speaker made a ruling that we need some particular information. So I will be responding to the Senate on this in detail with the necessary information.
Thank you, CS.
Then there was the compensation is the one I said. It's a question that we had exhausted.
I think, Cabinet Secretary?
I move to the next question.
We'll take the next question
Yes.
from Senator.
Thank you.
Question number 82 by Senator Mofire.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would want to know from the Cabinet Secretary, there are quite a number of issues that are affecting Tharaka Nithi County along the boundary between Tharaka and Meru County, Honorable Speaker. And this is why, Honorable Speaker, I want to know from the Cabinet Secretary whether she can provide a status update on the adjudication of the areas along the border of Tharaka, Nithi, and Meru counties, particularly Toroni, Viti, Nkondi, Tulema locations in Tharaka Nithi County, which have been subject of long-standing land ownership tussles. B, Honorable Speaker, when will the ministry issue titles to land owners in these regions, Honorable Speaker? C, Honorable Speaker, the minister should also give us the steps the government is taking to demarcate the boundary between the two counties, and which is likely to quell the tensions between communities on either side. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, I have provided a response to the question by Senator Mwenda Gataya Mofaya on the status of land adjudication in his area, Tharaka Nithi, and the challenges between Tharaka Nithi boundary and the Meru boundary. And the first question is a status update on the adjudication of areas along the border of Tharaka Nithi and Meru counties, particularly Ntoroni, Thiti, Nkongi, Tulema or Tulimi, Tulema, Torema. I think the E is not there. You know, some of my staff may not have grammatical nini for some of these words. Locations in Tharaka Nithi, which have been subject of long-standing land ownership dispute. I have a response there. The stalemate on land adjudication along Meru and Tharaka County boundary has not been unlocked yet, as there has been no consensus between the disputing communities. This boundary has been contested over the years since 1992. The solution of the same will pave way for ascertainment of land rights as adjudication officers for the respective adjudication areas will have clear jurisdiction on the extent of their areas of operation. And this is because definition of adjudication sections follow established administrative boundaries. And this is the response, therefore, that the Honorable Senator should take, that for us to do adjudication sections, we follow established administrative boundaries, which then has been disputed, and therefore we stopped the work. This scenario, as indicated, in response to a stalemate submitted by the Ministry to the Senate Standing Committee on National Cohesion, we did respond to this same question. Committee on Cohesion, Equal Opportunities and Regional Integration, and I have attached the response, and I cannot now provide a different response. And I think what we are saying in this particular question, Honorable Senator, you know the challenge is not even the boundary. The challenge is the people, and allow me to use this floor, Speaker, to address the people of Tharaka along this boundary and the people of Meru. What they are asking me to do is to do gerrymandering along the administrative boundaries or the county boundaries. There are people who are Tharaka. They are living in Meru or in an area said to be within the boundary, it is Meru. And they are saying, you cannot give me, my land cannot read Meru because I am a Tharaka. When you go to the Meru people, then they have land in Tharaka. And this is very unusual because today I can buy land in Nairobi or Kiambu or Baringo. I cannot demand the boundary to be changed to suit my ethnic community or background. So the elected leaders must help to tell people, if you are living in Meru, allow us to demarcate and title your land as that land is in Meru, because you and the land are two different entities. One is a person, the other one is land. Honorable Speaker, this is a very peculiar position we have here, because people living within Meru County and they are Tharaka, they are saying, no, my title cannot read Meru because I am a Tharaka. People in Tharaka and they are Meru, they are saying the same. This is a very simple problem. Maybe we should just come there. The last time I was in Meru to give, in Tharaka to give titles, then, and Meru, during JK members and other leaders there said I should not touch the question of administrative boundary. The response to the question of administrative boundary, to deal with that, Parliament has to give a resolution if we shall alter. But this particular case, and I'm speaking also to the governors of the two counties, this particular case will not be resolved by altering the boundary. And altering the boundary, you need a commission, either IBC to be appointed by Parliament to do this specific work, but we shall not have resolved the problem. I have adjudication sections, but we cannot do them because my officers were chased by your people, Honorable Senator. And that is the answer. And we shall remain like that until they accept that if your land bill is in Meru and you are Tharaka, where utaka Tharaka, you will stay in Tharaka. But you can sell the land if you don't want to be in Tharaka, if you are from Meru. You can sell the land and buy your land in Meru. I think these are the messages you should help me, Honorable Senator. We can do a baraza if you call, talk to the Jorizeke people, ask your counterparts in Meru to talk to each other, and we resolve this. I will need less than 2 years to give you titles that are remaining for the sections because we have already declared the sections. Honorable Speaker, that question, we have declared the sections, and what they are asking me, they know will not resolve the question of titling. It will not, redrawing the boundary will not happen around that area, not easy. Because the way they are saying that it should be drawn is really not practical. Because I cannot now remove your land and put it in Meru, so because you are a Tharaka and your land is in Meru, and that's where you are living. So, Honorable Speaker, I hope Honorable Senator, and he knows this problem, he should be my supporter so that we finish, we accept the boundaries. My appeal, using this floor, is we accept the boundary as it is. If you find your land is in Meru and you are from Tharaka, sell it and buy the land, sell it to Meru or to whoever is interested, and then go now and relocate to. And of course, there is a challenge. The best resolution is agree to live with each other. If you are a Meru and your land is in Tharaka, these are physical boundaries. Why are they becoming a challenge? I don't understand, because Kenyans can live anywhere, irrespective of your ethnic boundary. This is not a problem that can be resolved by redrawing that boundary, because there will be other people inside, very inside, away from the boundary. There will be a Tharaka person living within Meru. Will I go for him by changing the boundary? I think these are things that are painful for us. We have already declared the adjudication sections, and we are ready to finish once this. And this problem is more political than legal. This problem, Honorable Speaker, I have no doubt, I have analyzed it, it's more political than legal, and sometimes people use it to do politics. And I'm not saying Honorable Senator is one of those who use it, but he knows that it's quite political, it's quite emotive. People kill each other over that subject. And therefore the ministry has reached a point where it will ask the leaders to go back and speak to their people. The second question is titling. Adjudication sections take approximately 2 years. I think you wanted to know how long. 2 years to complete when all other factors are favorable. The ministry will hasten the process of adjudication in the stated areas as soon as the boundary issue is settled. So we have left that matter until we resolve those questions being raised. Despite the challenges over the county boundary, the ministry has previously completed adjudication of various sections as indicated in Table A. I have a table, Honorable Senator, there that has given a list of 10 adjudication areas with a total of 7,780 parcels. And then in B, adjudication sections finalized. These are the Table A is registered adjudication sections, and then Table B, sections finalized under the National Titling Program, where we don't charge. And I know most of your region, we were working with that program, where we produce titles at the National Titling Center, which is funded separately. And then you can see those are another 11 sections for B. And then ongoing adjudication sections, Siakariga, where we have 500 objections. We have commenced work, and then we receive 500 objections. We cannot proceed with that particular matter until the objections are resolved. Then there is also a case petition, number 5. Talk with these people, they remove the case from court. Honorable Senator, call me. We can talk with them together, with you. Okay, so that is the Siakariga problem. And then stored adjudication sections due to boundary dispute are 3. All the others are going on, but if you look at D, Table D, Turima, Karocho, Mukodhima, there you can't step in there. Your people chased my officers, and they were told to leave. So we need to have a very serious, open, candid discussion on how to deal with the dispute so that we can complete the 7,942 parcels for those 3 adjudication sections along the disputed boundary. And then in response to Roman 3, I wish to respond to the Honorable Senator as follows. The boundaries of Kenya's counties were established by the 2010 Constitution of Kenya. The 2010 Constitution, which replaced the previous provincial system. The boundary between Meru and Tharaka Nithi is described in the District and Provisions Act of 1992. However, this boundary is contested. The Constitution in Article 188(1), Honorable Speaker, provides the following in relation to variation of county boundaries. Although I have said I would not recommend going for variation or change of the boundary, because that will not resolve the dispute, the process of how you alter boundaries is provided for in Article 188, where Parliament is mandated by way of a resolution from Parliament, National Assembly, to form a commission to carry out that exercise. And obviously, because we have an IBC, although now not fully constituted, because this would require the full commission to work, then they would be able to request, instead of getting another commission, request the services of IBC. But I'm saying maybe before then, this is something humanly possible that the leadership of the 2 counties, at governor level, at senator level, at members of the constituencies around that boundary can sit. But do I say, I don't think there is any discussion going on between the 2 governors, for example. When you step there, you are told, don't touch. And a minister is told, no, Dio Maneno, we have not finished with this boundary issue and we don't want titling to go on. That is the position.
You have more fire.
Honorable Speaker.
Use the mic next to you, more fire.
Honorable Speaker, I am private to all the information of Madam Chair that you have given, that this dispute between the two counties is perennial. It has quite affected quite a number of people. But Madam Chair, you are aware, and I'm aware, that there is a commission which is whose report is in your ministry, the Wahome Commission, which was instituted I think some 10 years ago. Wahome Commission, Madam says, gave solutions to all the problems that you have highlighted in your report, which was supposed to give guidance on how to solve the problem between Meru County and Tharaka County. That report, Madam CS, has never seen the light of the day. It has never been implemented. I don't know for what reasons, Madam CS. And that report, Madam CS, can be a very, very serious, strong guide to guide you as a minister, to your officials, to address those problems you have just highlighted in your report, Madam CS. Because, Madam CS, I have also captioned in your report D, where you have stated you have stalled education schemes due to boundary dispute between Meru and the counties. This is the education section, which is Turima, Karocho, and Mukodima. Madam says this commission fully addresses the way forward on those 3 education sections. So, Madam says, I don't know whether you would be private to that report. You give this House why this Ogongo Commission has never been made public and why it has never been implemented close to 15 years down the line. 2, Madam CS, I have captioned you say that my people chased your people. You know, Madam CS, this is a house of record. This is a house of evidence. Would it be prudent for you, Madam CS, maybe to provide evidence where my people, when you say my people, you are saying people from Tharaka County where they chased your branch education officers. When? Did they make any report to any police? Do you have any report to that effect? Do you have any OB number? Because, you know, Honorable Speaker, when you say my people chase your people, that borders on criminality. So do you have any report that can be tabled before this House that people from Tharaka and Tharaka in particular chased land education officers from your ministry? Honorable Speaker, I think I would want to know, 2, their own commission, when will it be made public? Because it gives solution to all these problems that Madam CS are just highlighting this before this House.
Very well, Senator Mofao, the question has been heard. Senator Cherargei, you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So mine will be a question, follow-up on supplementary. Mr. Speaker, I've heard the CS saying squatters or squatters. We also have similar problem in Nandi. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the following question, that what is the status of the titling of Kimondi Forest squatters or squatters, Mwein Kechire in Chesumei, Okiek at Kebeni Nandils, Talai in Kapsisiwa, removal from detention, Libon of 1934, the titling of squatters in Tindred around Kimwani, Chepsangwer, and Chemas, Mr. Speaker, and also the state of titling of Koibem exchange program in Chepkumia ward. Could the CS provide the status of titling of these areas I've mentioned? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, Cabinet Secretary.
Let me start with Honorable Senator Cherargei. Maybe the definition of a supplementary should be a question arising from the same question. Although it is a squatter issue, it's a different region, it's a different place. I would want to request the Honorable Senator to allow this response to be provided later, because you can see he has mentioned about maybe 5 programs there. I can have this filed to the Senate for him to read, and there, if it is not sufficient, he can contact me, or if there is action needed, we can look at it. I have my Director of Settlement here with me, and he will start work on it immediately. There is a report, Honorable Senator from Tharaka, that he has referred to. Yes, the report was filed, it's completed. Tharaka Nithi, yes, Senator Tharaka Nithi. Sorry, did I call you Tharaka? Oh, Tharaka Nithi, Senator for Tharaka Nithi.
Senator Cherargei, the CS's phone number is public information.
It's private. I had said it's public, but
yes.
If he wants my number, he can talk to me when I am leaving. I'm surprised he doesn't have. I have his number, so I'll call him. Yeah, I will call him. Zachary Ogongo report, Honorable Senator for Tharaka Nithi. I beg your pardon. The report we have, and it recommended implementation, but it is not possible to implement this report because it requires cooperation and working with Tharaka Nithi people and Meru people along the boundaries. So what I was saying is that we need goodwill, and people must first be disabused in terms of their mind so that they know we cannot move the boundaries to come for you where you are. And I know the report is there. The recommendation for activities will still require people to stop being hostile. And I did not mean the Tharaka Nithi people alone. I mean the people along the boundary, the disputed boundary, because it is known where it is, and it is from both communities there, and they know, and they told me personally, the last time I came to give titles, they said that is a no-go zone for the time being. I personally was confronted with that hostility, and it's okay, I understand, because there are disputes, there are issues that are pending which need to be resolved. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying we cannot sweep under the carpet. We need to call them by names in terms of the challenge. But we can go through that report with you if you are really willing to go along with this to the end. But we need the cooperation by both governors. We need conversation and discussion where two governors can also come to table. And because we can come there with the county commissioner and with my security teams. But when I leave and they leave, we don't want to leave people fighting. We need first to create a peaceful environment and acceptance of the challenge and how we will deal with it. This must be adopted by the same teams. So we can go through some of these reports with you, and you can also give me a hint of what you think, because I'm sure as a senator, you may have some good ideas on how we can resolve those challenges. And that's what I'm calling upon, not just you, because you may even have goodwill, but your colleagues may not have similar goodwill. Honorable Speaker, I think I have responded to the supplementary questions.
Very well. We'll take
because
two more.
I still have more questions.
Yes, you still have, and there's some interest by some senators on the same question. So very quickly, we'll take one question from Esther, and then another question by Chute, and then we proceed to the next question. Senator Mofaya, we are really running out of time, and we have two more questions to go through. Why don't you make an appointment to see the CS has really exhausted on your question and explained. So, sorry, I didn't catch the question. Can you give him the mic? That mic seems not to be working. Give him the next mic. It's working.
Can you hear me now, Speaker? Thank you very much. There is one clarification, Speaker, I thought I could get from the CS, because we have been depicted as Tharaka people, that they chase some adjudicators from the education sections. That's what the CS just alluded to before the floor of the House. So I thought maybe whether I could get some clarification on whether that statement is true or not. Because I am not aware of any officer who was chased away, or maybe on those adjudication zones, by people from my constituency and from my county for that matter.
Honorable Senator, that information is on the ground. This happened in 2014, and they declined. They said they will not participate. Adjudication requires a community committee that you form, committee for adjudication, and that is the community people. So and then my people will come and facilitate the meetings. They said they don't want that work to be completed until the dispute is resolved. And that is how now even, the Zachary Commission, the report was, we went now to report issues. I think we have agreed there is a dispute. And I'm sure you know that, the dispute exists. If there is a dispute between the two communities, what else, how else is the ministry going to work? We deal with the dispute first. And I'm not imputing bad faith. I'm not accusing. They know. They told me personally. The evidence is myself, when I came there last, they said we must resolve Tharaka, Nithi, and Meru boundary dispute before we can deal with Ayud. Because you see now, they saw I was giving titles. So they didn't know whether I will now come to give the other titles of the remaining adjudication sections. But they were very clear that this issue must be resolved first. So if you ask for an OB, I think it's like we are now doing a case here. I thought I am responding and giving you the facts from my record. And I think my ministry can, if they are beaten, chasing is by, you are just told, no, stop the work. It's not something you can force. There has to be dialogue and acceptance.
Yeah, thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Esther, and please ask the question very quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is regard to the land title deed tussle. In the larger Gusii region, Cabinet Secretary, we've been, most families have been in the corridors of justice as a result of succession issues regarding, at times, rogue ministry officials who are forging some of these documents. What plan does the ministry have to address this issue? Because largely, we are also failing in terms of sensitization.
Chute and Senator Esther Okinyuru, both your questions are not touching on the question that we are handling right now. So I think I will have to go straight to the next question, because the supplementary questions are supposed to be related to the question raised by Mo Fire. and to me, we're just wasting time. I will allow the CS to answer after she has taken the next question. But it is not related to the supplementary. You know the rules of the House very well. So, honorable senators, we will proceed to the next question by Senator Lomenen. Senator Lomenen, ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, what is your question on clarification? And you know we are tight on time. We have another CS to appear.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is just to request you, because the House is always alive to many matters. Why don't you use power of your standing order number 1? Maybe if the CS is not with answers, she can provide next time or rely us with your office for the convenience of national public interest. I thank you, Speaker, for that indulgence.
Very well, Senator Cherargei. It's a good suggestion. I will ask the CS when we are concluding with her questioning, she can make remarks related to that, Madam CS. Senator Lomonen, go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, in relation to question number 094, because of time, I want to inform that on Wednesday last week, we met with the President, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, with the leadership or elected leaders from Turkana County. And we discussed in length this issue of housing. Because we were contented and we were all...
Senator Lomenen, I don't want to interrupt you.
Yes.
But you know the rules of the House.
Yes.
Are you withdrawing the question or are you asking the question?
I am... Chair, I was in the process of withdrawing.
Senator, let me remind you, once the question is on the order paper, it is the property of the House. So I would guide you to read your question, and the Senate and the Cabinet Secretary will respond to it as required by the rules.
Thank you, sir. I had also consulted the first speaker who was there, and he advised me to do so. So I can...
Just one moment, Senator Lomenen.
Yeah.
Just one moment.
Chair Cabinet, Chairman Cabinet.
Senator, I will allow you to withdraw your question, but if there is any other senator who wants to ask a supplementary question touching on that matter, we will allow them to ask.
The question. Yeah.
Thank you. Yours. Senator Lomenen, please proceed.
Chair, I have withdrawn the question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's going in record.
Any other senator who has a supplementary question touching on that? Senator Chute.
Honorable Speaker, you remember I asked a question based on the issue of housing, and that is what Senator Lomonen also was asking. With your indulgence, please let me request the CS to answer that question. It is because the question is touching on national interest issues and public interest. So please kindly allow her to answer that question, please.
Very well, Senator Chute. So your question was on Buxton housing project. Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, there are two questions. One from Senator Esther Okenyuri, where she's asking to know, I think basically is a concern regarding cases of succession being mishandled, and she's wondering what I would maybe help in that regard, how I would help in that regard, But I think as a senator and as leadership, it is important to continuously say and tell our people that they must deal with the officers from the ministry. And every registry has a registrar. And where the problems arise is sometimes they deal with people outside or within hangars, people who are brokers on the outside, and they think they are land officers. So I want to say that the Kenyan people must start working with government officers directly, so that if you have a complaint, if your money is lost, if you have been conned, you are able to say it is officer so and so. And this is the message I would like as the cabinet secretary, because this is a common feature in terms of people being conned by people hanging around. If you come to Athi House, we have eliminated people who used to make people suffer around Athi House corridors and outside. You'd come and deal directly with officers at the counters. We finish with you, you go. So, Honorable Senator, let our people in Kisii take up succession cases as soon as people pass away. The family level must first agree at that level before they can take their dispute to the public. And they must try to do ADR among themselves. Because if a family cannot agree, then it means if you go outside, you are going to people who will come to help you because of money, or people who want to prey on you and take your property. So this problem can be reduced almost to zero if at family level people know justice or are practicing justice and noting that every child of a deceased person is entitled to succession, is entitled to inheritance. And you see in Kisii, that community, like many communities in Kenya, they don't believe women are entitled to ownership of land, especially when it is a married woman. While the law of succession, Cap 160, is very clear that inheritance of property of a deceased person, whether a mother or a father, is by a degree of consanguinity. How related you are a child, the wife or the husband first priority, the children second priority, and any other member there if there are no direct beneficiaries by way of children. So I think let them also deal with sometimes with lawyers. And you see, if the family agrees, even to go to family division courts, they will take very little time, so that they are telling the court, this is our consent, this is how we are dividing this property. Not necessarily in equal shares, because some family members could agree, I don't need equal, although the law says in equal shares, but when you agree, they can. And so when you now, I think your problem is the crooks around this area or this space. There will be always unscrupulous people. But that's why our ministry, the officials know, you engage, we get you, you are out of job, period. You'll be prosecuted. I have maybe now more than 10 since I took this ministry, facing charges. My next challenge is how to ensure that they are also jailed, because we will provide information. Where they have facilitated corruption, we will not hesitate as long as I'm the minister. And we are doing it. EACC is also helping a lot in respect of public property. Senator Chuti has asked me this question. Maybe this is the fifth time. I will not get tired because he said I'm tired. I don't want to say I'm tired. We have to resolve the problem with you, Senator Chuti of Buxton. The decision was that the people who were living in that place should have had priority to own. But you know, this was not a complete affordable housing project, and that's where the problem came. Although there were people living in that property before the construction, and also the land belongs to the county government. So we would expect that people who were living should have been given first priority. But you see, it was basically a private property developer. I think there were challenges, and the ministry agreed there were challenges, and we said, because the houses are over, the first phase is over, the second phase, they will be given first priority. We are also doing other houses in Mombasa, You know, at KBC there, around there, we have taken land and we are coming up. Bring the list, they be given priority because it's also an affordable housing program. I don't think they should be stuck there at Buxton, but I know you have had a conversation with my PS, follow it up until this 180 people get their houses. Thank you. And I'm aware of the case. But the first phase is finished. And that's why we still have a problem. And I'm sure you are now following for the next phase.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Cherogey.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the CS of Lands, Madam Alice Wahome. In Kapsabet town, we are having 80% complete, so of more than 200 housing units in Kapsabet. My question to the CS supplementary concerning housing is to find out from Madam CS, the gracious lady, how many affordable housing program has our ministry allocated per county, as in per county across the 47 counties, and what is she doing to work closely with the county governments, the 47 county governments across the country? I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for that supplementary question, Senator Cherogey. The minimum, let me first go by the constituency, the sub-counties. In our program, every sub-county is entitled to 200, at least as a beginning, 220 units, housing units, both socio, affordable, and at times a few at market rate to subsidize the socio and affordable housing. So when we talk at every constituency with 220, that means in 290 constituencies, members of parliament are working with us, and those who have not started, they should pick up the issue so that we identify land together at national government level. And our first priority is national government land because there is less challenge there. And in every sub-county, we do have at least 2.5 acres. If we work well, we can get 2 to 3 acres for the first 220 housing units. So if your constituency as a member of parliament doesn't have that, you should know that let's work together. Possibly we have not been able to identify land, but we will move that way. Per county, we are not going per county. You know, some counties have less population. We are guided a lot sometimes by the need and the availability of land. But every county will have its own share, and the bigger projects we are taking up are at least 1,000, 1,200. In other counties, we have even gone up to 5,000. In Nairobi itself, because it's a capital city, it has bigger population. If you go to Mukuru, we have 13,000, I think 750 housing units. By this year, the president agreeing to launch the projects, we should be able to release about 5 blocks that are ready that are over 1,000 housing units. And I'm very confident. In fact, what we are waiting for is the lifts for those particular 5 blocks. The total that we plan to do per year is 200,000 units. That is our plan. And we expect that within the next 3 years, working with this term, is that we will be able to do 1 million houses, everything being equal. So therefore, let me see. Of course, you know, in Nairobi, we also are doing houses along Jogoo Road. We are in Starehe. We are in South B. We are in Park Road and Parklands. We are in, I think, between, just here near Kabete. So maybe Nairobi will be the biggest beneficiary by reason of population. But every county, and we are working, the second question is how are we working with the governors? Also, there is NHC that is so far now doing very well. We have houses in Homa Bay with NHC. We have houses in Embu, which within 1 year of launching of those projects are almost complete. We are in Nyandarua with NHC. We are in, I said, we are in Homa Bay. We are in Kisumu town. and we are in Embu. And those projects, I'm very sure in the next 6 months, we will be giving them out. So far, it's important to say, because I think that was part of my report, and I hope that even though the question is pulled out by the owner, that there are other information there that the senators can read. But so far we have 124,000 housing units